Our next application has to do with principal and interest. And we've already done a little bit of this, but these are more complicated questions dealing with principal and interest. So let me just remind you that to find interest, we take the principal times the rate times the time. Now what we're going to be dealing with here is actually investing in two different bonds or stocks or accounts that earn you a different rate. But typically it will be over the same time period, but it will be a different principal. So let's start with this first one. Miguel had $10,000, so that's $10,000 total, to invest in two different funds. One was a relatively safe bond that averaged 4% return. So I'm going to call X the amount in the safe investment. And whatever's left, he invested into a riskier stock that averaged a 7% return. So a better percent return, but a little bit riskier. You might lose your money. Now, $10,000 is my total, or is Miguel's total. So if he puts X into one account, then that means he has 10,000 minus whatever he put into this account is what's left over for the riskier stock. So those are going to be my two P's. Those are my principals. This is the amount that he's investing in the safe, and 10,000 minus X is the amount in the riskier stock. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at the PRT. We know that overall, at the end of the year, his portfolio grew to $10,625, which means he actually earned an interest of $625. So $625 is the total interest that he earned. So let's take a look at what he earned from the safe investment. The principal that in the safe investment was X. The rate on the safe investment was 0.04, that's 4% as a decimal. And the time was, I believe, just 1 year, so times 1. Now, how much did he earn from the riskier investment? Well, he had a principal of 10,000 minus whatever he had put into the other account. The rate was 7%, so that's 0.07, and the time, again, was 1. So if I add these two different interests, that should add to 625. So now it's just a matter of doing the math or doing the algebra. So X times 0.04 times 1 is 0.04X. I'm going to distribute. So 10,000 times 0.07 is 700. Minus X times 0.07 is minus 0.07X equals 625. On this side, I'm going to combine 0.04 and negative 0.07. So that gives me negative 0.03X. And on the same step, I'm going to go ahead and subtract the 700 from each side to get negative 75. So I've got a negative 0.03X equals negative 75. Typically on a question like this, I'd be a little bit concerned with negatives, but the fact that both sides ended up negative is okay, because now I'm going to divide by negative 0.03 on each side, and that's going to give me a value for X of $2,500. So how much did he invest in each fund? So Miguel invested, and I'm not going to have room to write the sentence. I'm going to let you do that. I'll just say it. Miguel invested $2,500 in the safe account, or the safe investment, which left him with, remember this is 10,000 minus X, so 10,000 minus 2,500 is 7,500 in the riskier one. So I'll let you write the full sentence. I'm kind of running out of room so that I could fit this all in one slide. Let's take a look at our second question. Same idea. He's borrowing $4,000. So here we're investing, here we're borrowing. Concept is exactly the same. Jonathan borrowed $4,000 in two loans. One loan charged 7% interest, so let's call that X is the amount that he has for the 7% interest, and the other charged 1.5% interest. So 4,000 minus X would represent whatever's left over that he put into the 1.5%. And again, this is 1 year, so that's going to be our time for both. Jonathan paid $225. So we're going to set it up the same way. The amount that he paid on the 7% is P, which is 7, times his rate, which was 0.07, times time, which is 1, so I'm not even going to put times 1. And then I'm going to add to that the principal of 4,000 minus x times the rate of 1.5%. Remember, we're always swishing it twice, so 0.015 times 1, so I'm not going to write the times 1, equals 225. So that's his total interest. And now we're just going to multiply it out, so 0.07x plus 60 minus 0.015x equals 225. I'm going to subtract the 60 from each side, and on that same step, I'm going to go ahead and combine these two terms, which are like terms. So that's going to give me 0.055x equals 165. And when I divide on each side, I end up with x to be 3,000. So again, I don't have room to write the sentence, but I will say it. Jonathan did not invest. Jonathan borrowed $3,000 at 7%. So $3,000 at 7%, which left him with 4,000 minus x, which is 4,000 minus 3,000. So he invested 1,000 at, he borrowed 1,000 at 1.5.